Hi, this is Kamaj Hand Spun Yarns, and I'm going to show you how to make a dye stock to dye either yarn or roving. And we're going to use the technique from Dyeing to Knit by Elaine S. Kesson. This is a wonderful book if you want to learn how to dye yarns to knit amazing colorful things. Okay, so these are the supplies that we need. I bought some ketchup and mustard containers, and they have the lids on them. Make sure you get the ones with the little pop-off tops so you could secure the top when you're not using your dye solution. We also have dyes. Today I'm going to do the primary colors. I'm going to do yellow, blue, and green. And then we have some citric acid crystals. I have a measuring cup. And you need at least a 1 cup. I would really say a 2 cup because this is going to have dye solution in it and you don't want it to the very top. So make sure you have some space in there. I have rubber gloves. I have measuring spoons. I have plastic spoons to stir the dye. I have a paper towel in case I spill. I have boiling water, I have warm water, and then I have a teacup, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this in a little bit. I covered my work table with saran wrap because my husband would never let me dye again if I don't cover the countertop. You see that we have granite, and yeah, he would get really mad if I got dye on the granite. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our rubber gloves on. You want to protect yourself from the dye. It is toxic. Make sure you have windows open and good ventilation. If you don't have good ventilation, you may want to consider putting on a mask, especially if your dyes are powder. All right, so first we're going to take the green. And you want to take 1 teaspoon of your dye. And I'm going to level it out with my plastic spoon, even though that's not exactly what I was going to use it for. Okay, I'm going to put it in my measuring cup. Okay. Put the lid back on your dyes just in case you knock them over. That would be a disaster. Okay, I'm going to take my boiling water and I'm just going to put a little bit in the measuring cup. Take your spoon and then I'm going to stir it until it dissolves. You want all that dye to dissolve. So you want a solution. When you put a solid and a liquid together and you dissolve it, it's a solution. And some dyes will take a little bit longer to dissolve than others. This one is taking a little bit longer time. Violet, for one, takes a little bit longer to get into a solution. Okay, so we have that, and this is where my paper towel comes in handy. I'm just going to set the spoon on there so I don't get water everywhere. Okay, then I'm going to take my warm water. It's really warm water from the tap, and I'm going to pour it in until I reach a cup. All right. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of the citric acid crystals, level tablespoon. Okay, and then I'm going to stir it again. You may want to consider wearing some sort of an apron or some sort of clothing that you don't mind gets dye on it. All right, so it is all melted. And you know what's kind of cool too, if you take your paper towel and your spoon and you put some dye on it, you know, then you can see what kind of color that you're going to have on a white fiber. You know, if you wanted to add another color to the green to kind of blend some colors, this is a really great way to see what color you're going to get. Okay, so here's the teacup. I'm going to put the teacup down and I'm putting my container in my teacup because this is really, it's very light, and I'm afraid when I put my funnel in the top of it, it's going to knock over. So at least it gives me some stability that it's not going to knock over. Okay, so I'm going to hold the funnel and I'm putting my solution inside my squeeze container. All right, so I'm going to put the lid on it. All right, and there you go. So you have a cup of solution ready to dye yarn or roving, and you are ready to go. And just repeat it with all the different colors. Make sure and rinse out your equipment before you start another color, and you're good to go. It's super simple. Okay, now that you have all your stock solution prepared, you're going to have it in a plastic container or a glass container with a tight fitting lid. You're going to mark on the front of the container what color the dye is. Because you'll put them in containers, even if they're see-through containers, you're never going to remember what they are. In solution, a dye will last about 6 months. You can store it for 6 months. Make sure and store it away from your children, away from your pets, because they will get them. Mine has gotten it before. So be careful where you put these. All right, another little nifty trick is you're going to take coffee filters. You want the type of coffee filter, it's a number 2 cone. So it's not the kind that you put in like a Mr. Coffee, it's kind of a cone shape. And then what you're going to do is you're going to write the name of the dye color on the top. So this is a turkey red, and I'm going to put a CC for Country Classic. You may use a gay wool, or you may use another type of dye, but it's kind of nice to put down what type of dye it is because you want to recreate this. All right, so I'm going to take the turkey red, and I'm going to just put a little bit of the dye on the coffee filter. And once it dries, you're going to have a really nice reference of dye. And I've done these, I use these all the time, hence the reason they're all crumbled up. But I made these and I use these constantly. They kind of give you a nice reference of color. You can put some colors together, you know, and say, hey, this looks good with that, or it doesn't look good with that. So it's really a nice reference to have. You know, some people dye pieces of wool like I've done pieces of roving, and I will use that also as a reference. So there's a lot of ways to use it, but try to recreate what you make, keep detailed records of what you make, and then you'll be able to go back and look at it and say, hey, that's the color I used to make that beautiful roving or make that beautiful yarn. So have fun, try this, give it a try, and make some beautiful yarn.